All right. Hi, everyone. This is a decentralized AI panel for you. And I'm going to introduce my pretty famous panelists to you. So I'll start with Ben Kurto from Singularity that everybody knows, Jihao from Local AI, and Tom is doing so many things, I don't know which is...
Network Zero. Network Zero is like my fun incubator.
That's what you want to hear. Is there anything we can do with the mics, organizers? Because it's too strong, no?
That's because we have the PAs here. I think does it sound good?
Hello.
Yeah, cool.
We'll wake them up.
Yeah, it's okay?
Yeah, we have a PA, so
Okay,
it's
they
acting
did
like
something. They adjusted. Okay, fine. Excellent. So, yeah. I want to start with a little story for you about decentralized AI. So I did a panel in Hong Kong. I don't know if it was 2017 or 2018. I did it for RISE, Web Summit. And they asked me to cover actually cybersecurity. And I decided that I wanted to look at the angle of how cybersecurity interacts with AI, because basically, there's a lot of AI used, by hackers, and there's a lot of AI also used by cybersecurity firms to offer all kind of cybersecurity solutions. So I invited famous cybersecurity firms, and I also wanted to invite Ben as AI expert to have this debate. So we had a very good panel and it was a nice discussion going on. And at a certain point, Ben was making an argument about what could be done, to protect things and how things could be carried. And I'm not sure if we did it in 2018 or 2019, but at this stage, Web Summit was still not crypto-friendly. In the middle of the panel, Ben goes and takes over the whole thing, and he says, well, you want to be safe, you have to decentralize AI. The other panelists were looking at him like, what? And he gave the whole pitch of Singularity back then, So here we're sitting now in a totally different environment after OpenAI coming out, and after so many things that happened in this, I don't know, how do we call it, Gen AI or overall AI domain. So I want to start this panel by asking Ben to give us a little overview how it was in 2017. He's basically the pioneer, not basically, he is the pioneer of decentralized AI and crypto community. So take us back a little bit. Tell us what you had, what you didn't have.
Yeah, sure. And I think what the Hong Kong event you mentioned, I think was 2018, and it was a crypto bear market starting then. So basically Bitcoin was dead, and the idea that crypto could be used to make AI better for everyone was considered sort of nuts by the mainstream of the tech world. But yeah, if we go back further, so AI has been around since the middle of the last century. I've been working on AI, I guess, since I was a kid, late 70s, early 80s. I remember my wife dug up recently a web page I put online in 1995 claiming I was going to run for president on the Decentralization Party candidate. No, I wasn't 35 yet then, so I couldn't run for U.S. president. Now that I'm still not old enough because you're supposed to be 90 to run for U.S. president. But
they'll make an exception.
I'm technically old enough now, but I've realized that'll be a terrible job, and I don't want to do it. But the point is, back then, the internet is decentralized, right? So when the internet came out, anyone could put a server on the internet. It can talk using TCP/IP. It's woefully insecure, but at least anyone can do it, and there's no central controller. So at that point, it seemed clear to myself and many others, really, that you want AI to be decentralized in the same sense that the internet is. That the whole global AI network should be controlled by everyone and no one. Anyone can put a machine online running some AI. It talks to the other machines online running other bits of the AI, and the overall AI of the global network is emergent from different AIs that different people have put up there. So I tried to build some stuff like that in the early aughts using early versions of Java. It was just so slow and so expensive. And we even talked about doing decentralized money back then, but it was also very slow and very expensive, and didn't. I mean, given how fast like Visa and MasterCard cleared a transaction, it didn't seem to make sense. So yeah, you fast forward to 2015, 16, 17, you have Ethereum, you have smart contracts, still too slow and expensive at that point. I mean, in a way it still is now, but way too slow and expensive at that point. But you could start to do something, right? So we built SingularityNet, which is an agent system for allowing multiple AI agents owned and controlled by different people, running on different machines, written by different people, to communicate and coordinate together without any central controller. And SingularityNet, I think, was the first to do this in a serious way, but there's a bunch of others that popped up around the same time. And, you know, actually, we thought at that point, being naive and starry-eyed, like in late 2017, we're like, all right, crypto is going to the moon forever, so we will ride this bull market to the singularity, and then you use this to build smarter and smarter AI and move toward current narrow AI, toward artificial general intelligence, then toward superintelligence. Of course, crypto's been more of a roller coaster ride. It's doing nicely now. Centralized AI has advanced very quickly using venture capital money and money from sovereign wealth funds and all that. We've had ChatGPT, the whole generative AI revolution. But, you know, crypto's still doing decently. AI is still fueled by open source code, so it's not a big mystery how to do the most cutting edge AI stuff. So I think we're in a position now where we can put cutting edge AI algorithms, both deep neural nets and other AI techniques like logic systems, evolutionary learning, hypervectors. You can take multiple AI techniques, put them together in a decentralized network, and I think we're in a position in the next couple years to make smarter stuff in the decentralized AI ecosystem than big tech has done, and to roll it out at scale and rapidly, right? And this is so, looking back into the historical period you mentioned, we had Fetch.ai, an Ocean protocol, launching a little bit after SingularityNet with their own versions of decentralized AI agent systems. So one thing we've been working on in the last couple months is creating a new entity called the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. So the SingularityNet's AGIX token, Ocean's Ocean token, and Fetch.ai's FET token, they're all going to merge into a single ASI token. And we may end up merging other decentralized AI projects into the alliance as well. Yeah, the goal is to pull together the decentralized AI community.
So you're merging the decentralized intelligence into one superintelligence.
But we're
right?
coming back to the tokens, guys.
Right.
Leave it a little
Right.
bit. We're coming back. We're doing another round on
Is
tokens
that
now.
an offer already for us?
So actually, very good primer. So looking back at what you had and what you didn't have, what you were missing, in my humble opinion, were tools and community. So speaking about tools, you guys, Floki AI, are doing federated learning. I mean, the audience would like to know a little bit more, because I don't think everybody heard already about your product, so would like to know a bit more, and also like how you helping these guys move forward.
Yeah, federated learning is a super important ingredient of
Of
decentralized AI
decentralization.
ecosystem.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I'm a researcher for the past 10 years, working as global head of AI in Royal Bank of Canada, and also a research fellow in Imperial College London, where my main focus is on the AI research, and especially knowledge graph, natural language processing. And it was in 2022 when I see federated learning as an emerging technology in AI, where Google, Apple is already been using it. But the way they use it in traditional way is they still have to control the central node, right? Google still has to stand in the middle, say, okay, I am the guy who is going to distribute the resources into different nodes, even though that, yes, it's privacy preserving in a way that A and B don't see each other, but yeah, I see everything. So I'm a master. So that's why I want to bring blockchain in. So there's no central node. We don't need a central node to actually facilitate everything, every training. Leave it all away, like all the trainers are actually forming a consensus to join together to govern the training, and if anyone's playing evil, let's slash them out, right? If he's playing good, then eventually he'll get rewards, and then this incentivization mechanism is also a way to ensure that, okay, even if we don't have even if we have a headless type of training cohort, we can still ensure like everyone is genuine enough. So that's basically the idea behind the Flock. That's why we call ourselves Flock. Actually, it's a pun. Federated Learning Blockchain Flock. So I casually do some stand-up comedian myself.
Thank you. So I was looking, a couple of weeks ago, we had an argument about the whole subject, because that's the subject that we discuss every day, decentralized AI. And I went back to look up your white paper, and I was like, oh my God, it's all about governance. There's so much about governance. So that takes us to you, Tom. I wanted to ask you to share a little bit, because we were together in Zuzalo, and there's a lot going on in the AI community. Could you share a little bit what is going on, how it all came to exist, and what do we expect from this?
Yeah, so the effective acceleration movement was kind of birthed out of like this backlash of the collapse of EA and the rise of AI doomers. So I think it was, what year is this now? Was it early 2022 or 2023? I forget. Udowski went on the Bankless podcast and basically scared the shit out of everyone with this AI doomer thesis. And when I first saw that, I was like, well, he's obviously just like incorrect, and everyone will dismiss him as a fool. But then I started getting all these like emails from my different crypto groups and mailing lists and stuff like that. And crypto people who are generally saying, hey, we need to decentralize everything and like, no government, we're saying, oh my God, I'm really scared about, AGI now. And, should we get governments involved, and should we like be petitioning our congressmen to like ban AI? And like, so I was like, oh fuck, like this is mimetically spreading. This is dangerous, right? And so I wrote a whole article that was like, the title was, AGI isn't going to doom us all, it's the doomers that will doom us, or something like that. And like the thesis there is like, if you follow that line of thinking and you want the government to get involved, like what actually happens like is that the government says, hey, only a few companies get a license to create AGI, right? And then you have a problem of alignments where it's not that AGIs are aligned to humans or not, it's like which humans are the AGIs aligned to, right? Because it's the ones who actually create these AGIs that are going to be controlling them, at least in the early days, right? So I think that's a massive problem to get government involved and giving a few a license to control the only AGIs that exist, right? So I wrote a whole article about that. It was rather popular in the EAC community, but really the central thesis there is like, hey, it's probably impossible to align AGIs to all humans because humans can't even be aligned with all humans. Like we haven't figured that part out. Like we haven't aligned humans, right? But if every like set of humans has their own AI, then like it kind of like levels the playing field for everyone, right?
I mean, few people are aligned with themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, we're multifaceted beings. Like we're in conflict with ourselves constantly. So it's an impossible problem, right? But like we have a few rules, which is like the golden rules, like do unto others as you would have others do unto you, right? It's just which is basically a non-aggression principle, right? And like that's really the thing that we need as beings, right? So yeah, I think it's super important that we get the technology to everyone, so everyone can use it, and it's not nerfed or censored by particular organizations. And so I think this is why the decentralized AI movement is very important, because hey, if you're only plugged into ChatGPT and you have to do like you can only query the things that they say that you're allowed to query, then that's not very good, and it only gets worse from there, right? So there's lots of various techniques to make sure that the rest of us have access to the raw untapped potential of AI, and I think that's where the decentralized AI movement is incredibly important for the future.
Give me one word on the community, because the governance is important, but you need to have a community to govern it. So what can you tell me in the community?
I actually don't think that, I don't agree with governance. Like I think everybody should just have their own AI and then they just duke it out with each other. I don't think we should govern anything like that.
Well, on that sense, I think there's a beautiful thing about AI, because the metrics is actually is deterministic. Like for example, the paper rewards all you need, right? So yes, it can be a very super ASI or AGI, right? But we can just set up a very deterministic reward as a number, 99% that you need to reach, which can be easily then used as a mechanism, for example, when it comes to governance. So that's the beauty of AI, which I think, it works in a way that you don't really have to have a very complex mechanism to do the governance if it's, or object-oriented.
I mean, if you're dealing with a very narrowly construed AI, which is working toward a specified reward function, one can perhaps build a governance mechanism around that. But I mean, the nature of open-ended intelligence is such that there is no fixed reward function for general intelligence, human intelligence, or super intelligence. So I guess mechanisms like that can be valuable, but yet they're existing within a larger open-ended intelligent framework.
Okay,
So this is the threat of centralized AI. If you have a non-general superintelligence, right, and it has a reward function that we don't like, if it's the only player out there, it can go and cause havoc, right? But if everyone has their own similarly powered AI, then those AIs can battle that AI, right? If one goes rogue, then you have tons of other AIs to battle it, right? That's why we need a lot of.
Let's hope these battles are not what happens.
Exactly, but like more likely they detect that one has gone rogue like very early, and they're like, like let's turn that one off, right?
Let me swap the word governance for coordination.
Yeah, so I think we're really terrible at that. Everything that I've seen in crypto with DAOs and democratic voting and all of that has turned into a total shit show and destroyed a ton of value. So I think that I'm very bearish on that. I'm more of the individual should run their own thing and make their own choices.
Crypto networks tend to try to do governance via vote buying, via one token, one vote. And the pathologies of this are clear. Sure. Democratic governance doesn't necessarily mean voting, and I would say there are many open source communities that evolve in a
rough consensus,
in a democratic way without trying to count votes and make it precise in that manner.
Yeah, I like that. That's that you're describing rough consensus, which I think like forkability and rough consensus is, I think, the more free market way to do that, right? Because if you're in the open source community and half of the people who want to contribute to that community don't agree with where it's going, it gets forked. And then there's another one that's like, hey, this repo is this, but in this particular way, and this repo is that in that particular way, and the rough consensus ends up in two different places, right? And if it's such a contentious thing that it's so important that you have to fork the community, that will happen. And if it's not, it will get resolved.
Yeah, and
That's where AI meets crypto.
That's the real decentralized governance in
Exactly,
crypto networks, right? I mean, the fact that you can vote what this network does or not, I'm not saying it's of no value, but these votes are easily gamed and they're complex.
I would say it's of negative value. I've seen everything be destroyed by it.
It can be negative, it can be positive, but I think that the fact that the machines are owned by different people, the software is open, and if a bunch of people don't like what a network is doing, they can just run different software on their machines and form a different network. That's really fundamental.
Exactly.
I mean, that's like voting with your feet, and
right.
that clearly is what works, and that's the power of decentralized networks for advanced software.
That's where the right to exit.
And
is
now I want to take
important.
it back to you, Ben, in the sense that having this discussion here, what's next for you? What do you need to basically continue?
Well, we're in a fortunate position now because crypto is doing well, AI is doing well. We have a lot of cool software. We have a great community of people who want to help us keep building this software. So I really think we're in a position now where within the Singularity Net and the Superintelligence Alliance ecosystem, I think we're in a position now where during the next few years, we're going to be able to build AI which is much smarter than what big tech is putting out. And if you have GPT-4, 5, 6, if we come up with something much smarter than GPT-6 running on a decentralized infrastructure, because we're not just trying to jack up transformer neural nets, but we're integrating them with logic engines, evolutionary learning systems, and other forms of AI systems on our own substantial but decentralized server facilities. I think you'll then have a situation where the balance of power in the AI world shifts from a few big tech companies to decentralized networks. And certainly techniques for federated learning will be part of this, because you need federated learning to train, for example, sizable neural models on decentralized networks, right? And so this will create a situation which is very troublesome for the powers that be, because if a government wants to stomp down on AI, well, okay, they sort of can in their borders, but the network doesn't live in anybody's borders, right? And they can't lock up the guy who owns the servers, because it's not just on one guy's servers, right? So it doesn't mean governments and people can't regulate and guide what's going on, but it's a bit more elusive than something that's controlled by a single company. And there's a quote that my friend, the psychologist Alan Combs, gave at the Beneficial General Intelligence Conference we had in Panama a couple months ago. He said, "Don't worry, nothing is under control," right?
Yeah, we live.
And that's let's hope it stays that way. Then it can self-organize into a beneficial configuration. So really, what we need is just more and more community, more developers to jump on board and help build the decentralized AI, more people to design applications using decentralized AGI and AI tools and make noise about these applications.
That's call for community, guys. Jiao, can you support on your
Yeah,
side?
yeah, of course, thanks. As Ben and Tom say, right, the model has to be community owned. That's exactly what we are trying to build. The product that we are launching soon about decentralized training. So basically everyone who holds either data or graphic computes or a task, right? They can just join the training, and then a bunch of them, if they don't agree with any other people, they can have their own model run. They don't have, they don't have to always, have a consensus ideology about the AGI, because it's not going to happen. Like, there are different thinkings, different school of philosophies in different areas. Like, we want them to all control their own idea, right? That's exactly the thing. And also, because of federated learning, which is very important, that helps us to preserve user privacy, because I also know another saying that human beings' real authentic data died in 2016, because that's the time when GPT-1 came out, and there are so many synthetic data generated. And now, like, everyone's using GPT for example, when they send the emails to the proofreading, right? That's not your created data. That's synthetic. And then models train on those synthetic data. It's like amplifying any bias that machines might have. So it's dangerous. That's why we want that last mile of a human real dignity of your real private data, right? Which can be securely run on your own control, under your own ownership. That's the real AGI that we are looking forward in the future.
Thank you. Now, Tom, I need you to put we have 5 minutes left, and I need you to put your investor hat and give us a little bit your sentiment or whatever you see for the AI tokens. Well, Ben opened with the merger. I mean, what do you see in AI token world? We see a lot of volatility. We see Eric Wohl and everybody else complaining about AI token behavior. What's your take?
Yeah, so I think it's very early days, and I think we're in that stage of 2017 kind of ICOs where everyone was creating these so-called useless utility tokens. Not to say they're all useless right now, but I think we're in a very early phase where we're not exactly sure how tokens will work within AI ecosystems in an ideal way. And so some projects may have it more figured out than others. Some of them are just considered to be like AI meme tokens, right? And what I've seen in crypto is that the best case for that is a meme token doing well for a particular technology ends up funding public goods. And that doesn't always happen to be the case, but if high integrity people are the ones that are working on the project, then that tends to happen, which I think is a net benefit. And then you also get folks who are just kind of riding the wave, and they kind of just do an exit scam or something like that. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of as we figure out what systems work, it's really difficult to design a token without knowing how the system is going to work in the end, and we're still figuring out how the systems are going to work. And once we figure out how the systems will work, then we'll understand how the token actually helps the system to work, right? In the case of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin asset actually is the security of the entire Bitcoin chain. It's the reason that it works, right? And I think we'll get there, and the ASI teams have made some good strides in that direction. So I think we'll get there, and on the way we'll fund a bunch of good stuff, and we'll fund a bunch of scammy stuff. That seems to be the way of crypto.
I mean, evolution is messy, wasteful, and often absurd, right? And
Exactly.
That's what we're seeing here.
So our take, don't worry, nothing is under control.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, thank you guys very much. Great perspectives. Thank you, audience,
thanks.
for having us.
Thank you. Cheers.
Organizers.